This woman is being accused of killing her neighbor over something really ridiculous. Just watch this.
Juse Clay, this concerns a charge brought against you by the Public Prosecutor's Office on November 29, 2017 around 3 p.m. on Raimundo Barbosa Santana Street. The victim, Jacqueline Silva de Souza, was allegedly stabbed by you. She died on the way to the hospital. Here in the complaint, it states that you, appearing visibly homeless, were sitting in front of the victim's house, at which point the victim offered you a glass of water and invited you to come inside the house and use the bathroom. Then the defendant took advantage of the moment when she entered the victim's residence and, without any justification for such conduct, pulled out a fish knife and stabbed the victim multiple times. After that, the defendant, in an attempt to flee, was grabbed and detained by bystanders. The victim was still taken for medical assistance but did not survive her injuries and died on the way to the hospital. And you would have confessed to committing the offense, with the accusation made by the Public Prosecutor's Office being the crime of homicide, doubly qualified by a trivial motive and also by means that made it impossible for the victim to defend herself. That was the accusation made against you by the Public Prosecutor's Office. So now, let's start asking questions related to the incident. From this moment on, you may remain silent or answer questions from your defense or from the jurors themselves. Dr. Raimundo, what will be the defense's strategy? Will she directly answer the difficult questions presented to her, or will she instead choose to adopt a completely different and more complex strategy to handle the situation?
She will answer.
All right, perfect. So let's continue, Juscelino. So the first question I ask you is, this is the accusation being made by the Public Prosecutor's Office. Is it true?
So,
I would like you to tell me your version. What happened that day and how did the events unfold?
may I speak? Look, I was coming from a friend's house, and yes, I did go into the yard, but I went in just to pick some mangoes. I left my bicycle leaning outside. I didn't know if anyone lived there or not. I just went in to pick some mangoes. When I got there, I did hear some screams. There was shouting, and then it would stop, So at that moment, I said, well, I just kept picking the mangoes, so I could leave. Then, just as I was getting ready to leave, I really don't know if anyone else there heard me. I honestly don't know. And then, as I was finally leaving the yard, a lady came running out of nowhere, and she just went right inside. When she went in, I just left. And I go to get my bicycle to leave, right? I have no idea what's going on, So I grab my bike and start heading out. I get on the bike and leave. Then this lady comes running out from inside yelling. And she's yelling, making a huge scene in the street, And then a bunch of people show up, the whole neighborhood, Then she started accusing me. I said, but accusing me of what? Then some man, I don't know who he was, grabbed me by the hands, took me to his house, locked me inside, and called the police. And that's when the police came, put me in the car, and took me to the police station, and I stayed there. I didn't get to give a statement, nothing. They just told me to sign a paper. So I went and signed that paper.
Okay, I understand. Let's go over this then so we can understand a bit better. On that day, did you already know the victim, Jacqueline Silva de Souza? No?
No.
Her?
No?
Because you said you were in the backyard, right?
Yes.
So there was her house and the area next to it was open? Yeah?
That's right, there was a mango tree. And I actually went there to pick some mangoes because it was full of them. And I don't even know whose mango tree that is.
And was this mango tree in the backyard of the house from where the person you mentioned came running out?
Yes, it was.
In the backyard. Yes, in the backyard. Okay, so at no point did you actually go inside the house?
No, at no point did I go in. I don't even know who that woman is.
I've never even seen her. I'd never even seen her before. Neither Jacqueline nor the other woman who ran out. No.
To be honest, I do not recognize either of them.
Okay, so you only went in to pick the mango, and after that, the local resident who caught you, did you already know him? He said that he locked you in the house, right? No.
I did not know that man personally.
I didn't know him.
He caught me, I think, because of the crowd. There were a lot of people coming after me, right? But they didn't hit me either. Then he grabbed me by the arms and took me to his house. If I'm not mistaken, it seems like he was an investigator, something like that around there. Then he took me, locked me in his house, and called the police.
You also told me that a woman ran out of the house screaming, right? How did that happen? because you both left together since you were in the backyard. Then you said you left, right? And that's when the people saw you and started accusing you. And this girl, the woman who was screaming inside the house, did you see who she was?
I don't know who that woman was.
You didn't see if she left too? No.
Huh?
Was it the victim?
No, I saw. Just as I was preparing to leave that place, I suddenly heard this young girl screaming from somewhere deep inside. I really didn't have any idea what was happening in there, but then I saw this woman go in. That is exactly when, not knowing anything about the situation, I said to myself, I am leaving right now because I simply do not know what is going on. So as I was making my way out, I went to get my bicycle. That was the moment when she
Came from there and started screaming. But did you see the woman who was screaming, or did you just hear the screams?
the lady, it was a lady.
Right? Was it Jacqueline who was stabbed? Did you see if she was bleeding or something like that?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't see anything at all.
She was just screaming, right? And what happened to her afterwards? Did she run away? Did you see?
No.
No.
You didn't see? No, I didn't either.
All right, perfect. I'm satisfied. Dr. Ruiz, if you have any questions.
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Luciclea, was this mango tree in front of the house or in the backyard?
Look, as far as I remember, as I recall, it was because the yard was big, right? I remember that the yard was big and there was a mango tree
Yes, in the front or in the back?
in the front like this.
So the mango tree was in front of the house.
That's right.
Was there a fence in front of the house?
There was.
Ma'am, did you go inside that fenced area?
I did. I went in to pick the mangoes. At that point, I didn't know if anyone lived there. That's why I went in, because I didn't know if anyone lived there or not, you know? I saw the mango tree there and I went to pick the mangoes.
How long did you stay there, ma'am?
Look, I didn't stay there very long, no, because as soon as I went in to pick the mangoes, a lady came running, she came in, and then I left. And as soon as I left, she came out from inside, running, shouting that I was the one who had done that. That's when the people from the neighborhood came and grabbed me, right? Then this man came, held me by my arms, and took me to his house. Then they called the police, and that's when the police took me to the station.
During your stay, how many people entered the house that you saw, ma'am?
Only that?
Only that lady?
Yes.
Absolutely nobody else had ever reached that place before. Is that correct? Only when
Look,
this person who you mentioned, you heard the scream from inside, and this person arrived there to enter the house.
yes, that is correct.
Did you happen to see or perhaps pay close attention to anyone at all leaving the house? You said you saw someone entering the house.
Yes.
So you heard the scream and someone entering the house.
Yes.
Did you see anyone leave the house?
No, it was just that lady.
You didn't see anyone leaving the house running with a knife in their hand?
No.
Were you carrying a knife?
No, I was on a bicycle.
Did you eat mango there?
I did mango. I even ate a mango, which I was picking, which I was also eating.
All right. When this person grabbed you, weren't you holding a knife?
No, that is not correct.
Excuse me, ma'am. Were you ever a user of illegal drugs?
Look, I used for a while. At the...
Time of the incident,
No.
you weren't a user?
No.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
Okay, how long before the incident did you use drugs?
It hadn't even been a full year yet. It had only been a few months since I stopped.
I'm going to ask you one more question. You're saying that you arrived in front of the house, saw the mango tree, went in with your bicycle, and stayed there picking and eating mangoes. And is it correct that you did not witness any other individuals arriving at the house during the entire time that you were present on the property, except for the moment when there was a sudden scream from inside? and a certain individual arrived on the scene and entered the house. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you remember that you answered the judge's question and said that you had already responded to lawsuits? How many lawsuits have you responded to? Besides this one here? No,
I don't remember.
you don't remember. Not even what those lawsuits were about? You are?
Not remembering.
You're not remembering. When this event happened, and considering this all took place back in 2017, your children had already been born by that time, right?
Yes.
So were you operated on to prevent having more children?
I am. Yes.
It is not? What kind of drugs were you using? I used toothpaste. Just pasta? Only. Marijuana, right? No. Excellent. Satisfied?
Dr. Raimundo, if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Ciclea, good morning.
Good morning to you, everyone.
Ciclea, regarding this man who took you into his house, well, did he ever actually go down to the police station and provide them with any kind of formal statement or official report while he was there?
No. He just called the police directly from right in front of his house.
All right. And when you got to the police station, did you appear before the police chief or the clerk to give your statement?
No, sir.
He didn't call you to give your statement to clarify things?
No, sir.
But did you sign any document there?
They gave me a paper to sign, and what did they?
Tell you.
Saying that I was going to be taken down to the jail? Just that?
Did anyone go there to positively identify you in person? That lady who shouted there, the one who was making all that noise?
No, no one did.
No one went to the police station to your statement?
No.
If they were to identify you, actually, no one went.
No one went?
All right. How long were you in prison because of this case? Do you remember? 3?
Years and a bit.
Almost 4 years, right?
Almost 4.
Okay. That's all, Alenzo. Thank you.
Do any of the jurors have any questions? No? Perfect. I will be concluding, Juscelino, your interrogation. Is there anything else you would like to say in your defense before I conclude?
No, I don't think so.
No.
No, sir.
Then I thank you for your clarifications. All right, your interrogation is concluded. You may sit next to your lawyer, all right?
Okay, thank you.
Her story is pretty weird, right? It's worth remembering that if someone tricks another person to make the crime easier, the penalty is much harsher. If she asked the victim to bring her a glass of water or asked her to go pick some mangoes from her backyard, and the victim trusted the accused and let her into the house, and because of that the crime was easier to commit, then the sentence is more severe because the killer took advantage of the victim's trust. But what do you think happened in this case? Did they convict her or not? Leave your opinion in the comments before I tell you what really happened. What this woman didn't mention in her statement is that the victim was stabbed 17 times. Here's the outcome. She was sentenced to 15 years and 9 months in prison for the crime.